we switched because leadership switched or whatever switched, right? Marketing director switched or this and that. And then it's like, okay, but we want to get back to LinkedIn. Who has the credentials?
All right.
Now what?
Horror stories after hours.
Are we rolling?
The chef.
Okay, so horror stories. You guys are going to have more than us, I think.
I got one right now.
All right, let's hear
Let's
it.
hear it.
Okay, so worked with this doc, great doc, good stuff. Made our site checks. He's been open for about 3 months now. He gives me a call, says, "Hey, Tommy, sewer's backing up. I don't know what's going on." I'm like, "What? Really? Oh my gosh." He goes, "It happened over the weekend. I called the repair guy. He came out and clogged. He, ran his machine through there, and he found a bunch of debris. He thinks the sewer's collapsed." I'm like, "Okay,
shoot.
wow, all right, that's crazy because it's a brand new building, but okay, it's in a lease space." So I said, "Okay, it's the place that we shot at. That was under construction
Oh,
for
yeah.
the video."
Oh,
So I said,
really?
"Okay." So I said, "Oh, it's very new, right?" I said, "Okay, let me go over there." So, I'm sorry, let me call the contractor. So I called the contractor, told the contractor. They were like, "Oh, man, we'll send our guy out there right away." So they sent his guy out there. His guy went out. His guy ran his machine through there, and his machine went through, and he says, "Man, I'm getting it all the way out to the street. Wherever it's coming through is in the street. We'll have to dig it up out in the yard and figure out where it's at." I'm like, "That's weird. Is there just concrete or something there? They must have had concrete shoved in the line or something that somebody dumped in there." And
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, "Wow!" And it took 3 months to back
To
up.
spill it through, yeah.
I'm like, that doesn't make sense. So then we contact the landlord. Of course, the landlord's like, "Oh, let me send my plumber." So now we got 3 plumbers out there. So he sent his third plumber out there. His plumber goes out there and looks and says, "Okay, we're running the sewer line through, and it went in, and so we ran it to the other side, and we found out that your plumber had connected the sewer line to the grease trap for the future space."
What?
And we're like, "What?" And I'm starting to think about. I'm like, well, that makes sense because liquids would flow through, but solids would take a while to build up in the grease trap for. So I'm like, wow. I'm like, he's been open for 3 months, so that should have filled up faster. But I'm like, hold on, Veronica reminds me he's only been open a couple days a week because he likes his associate job, so he's kind of going slow and stuff. He's got the patience, but he wants to do it real methodically. So anyway, so I'm like, oh man, there's no way. And so I went through the documents and the footage to check, and I'm like, I didn't see an orange pipe, I didn't see a blue pipe because they're identified in different colors depending for a grease trap. They went out there and they met again, the 3 plumbers, and they collaborated. They ran their cameras through there. They pulled the toilet out because there was no clean outs. So they pulled the toilet, went through the toilet with the camera, and went out. Sure enough, went freaking straight to the grease trap.
No way.
Yeah. So now the space next door is still empty. It's not occupied. So what they're doing is they're tunneling under that space into the docks. They're
How
making
expensive
is
is
this
that?
covered by insurance?
it's covered by the plumber who originally did it.
Oh,
Oh,
his
that
insurance
guy.
maybe?
His insurance.
It's almost like a
his
malpractice.
fee.
Right?
So this is like ABC plumbing. It's not ABC plumbing, but it's like a very
They're at the top of the phone book.
small it's a small plumbing company.
Yeah.
And so this is more or less out of pocket for them. I feel bad for them. I really do.
Sad.
I feel bad. I mean, I'm sad that the doc has to go through that. I feel bad for them, but their plumber did not check the line. He was supposed to camera it first and check it, and he didn't do that. But it's also supposed to be identified. So, but right now we can't fight any of that or look at any of that. Right now
so
we just
can
got to
he
get it redirected.
operate?
Yes. So what they're doing is that they're using the restroom at the next door office for those days. But since he's only open 2 or 3 days a week, what they're doing is they're working overtime and they're doubling their manpower to tunnel under there, intercept the line. They're going to dig a cavity that's like a 5x6 by 4, so they can have a big space underneath there. They got to shore it and all that kind of stuff so it doesn't collapse on anybody.
Holy crap.
Find the line, disconnect, redirect the line to the sewer, camera to make sure that is the actual sewer line. And then there's no inspection on that because no inspector is going to crawl underneath there. But
Yeah.
they have to like document the photos and all that to make sure that it's done with the right fall and all that. And so
That's some like business owner edition. Are you afraid of the dark?
right. Well, and I feel bad. The dock is
That'd be
one of the
terrible.
coolest docks. Super nice, very trendy.
One of the ones we did the shoot for.
Yeah,
Yep.
No way.
The ones that were framed.
yeah. They had the metal
way.
studs. Yep.
Oh my gosh, that was
His
going to be
office.
such a beautiful. But there was a weird trenching issue with that one too.
Remember?
Yes.
Yes, it was like half the demising wall in the other space and half not. And then I was like, man,
my
what the heck? That
gosh.
I
and then
remember
they had to
because
go
I got
refix
really
that.
bored with y'all talking about that. Yeah, I remember that conversation.
That was so interesting to me. I was just like, tell me all the details.
Trenches. What are the finishes? Where are the lighting fixtures?
Yeah, I remember we were talking about that, and since the contractor was there filming with us, we were like asking him when we were there, like,
Yeah.
hey, man, what's with this? Why is the trench going off to the other side? Why is it not square and in the
Yeah.
space? And
So interesting.
Poor guy and poor
Yeah.
plumber and just
yeah,
Poor
you.
Doc too. Yeah, you guys. I mean, it's just
That's
a
just hard on
huge hassle all
everyone.
around.
well, the alternative. So if there would have been people in the space next to him, he would have had to have where the line ended up was between two ops. So they would have had to have plasticed off and
I would have shut
mitigate
down.
the dust.
Yeah.
Pull up the flooring, and then saw cut a 5x6 hole, and then take out that wall between the two operatories out because they have to tunnel down, move all the dirt out, excavate it, and then intercept the line that way, which would have been faster than tunneling and safer than tunneling. Tunneling is very dangerous, but that's the option they have right now, and that's what the plumber wants to do because he doesn't want to have to put back the wall and the flooring and the concrete and all that stuff and the dust because it would need a super deep cleaning because I mean and then it would have closed him because of all the noise. So yeah,
crazy.
that one just happened, and
So, like, your
He
most
contacted me.
frequently asked question to the plumber now is, did you camera the line?
oh yeah, so that's
Did I say that
Is
right?
this
Did
going
I sound
into
like I
the
knew what I
grease
was
trap
talking about?
or?
Yeah.
Did you camera the line? If there's a restaurant in that facility now, like, hey, is there a future restaurant here? Yeah, okay, where's the grease trap?
Mm-hmm.
You know, did you
That's
paint them? Because
crazy.
normally we see, and I've seen it. I've showed it to Veronica. Like, she's like, "Why is that line a different color?" I'm like, "Oh, that's for the grease trap." I'm like, oh, that's how they
Fascinating.
differentiate it. Yeah, they're supposed to do it. Evidently, I really don't think this guy did it. But
He's cheaped
we
out
have
on
to
the
fight that
process.
battle later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now we have to fight that later because right now we got to get the guy open.
So here's my follow up question to that. Like, as a soup that comes in and really like takes care of the client, you have so many subcontractors that are working on so many different components. How do you keep track of all of the potential problems that come up? Because you
gosh,
have
yeah.
to. It's almost like you have to have seen all the horror stories.
But he has.
I know, just to be able to
Yeah.
know what to look out for to
Right.
prevent more horror stories.
So our checklists have grown because of labor. Labor in construction industry is very short, and it's dwindling even less. So you have people come in that are trained in an accelerated program
Yep.
of some sort. Typically, it's on the job. It's not like, hey, you're going to go to this trade school, you're going to learn this particular trade or thing. That's not done a whole lot anymore. Some people still do it, but a lot of people do it by the on-the-job training.
Right.
So they get paid to learn. But a lot of, contractors are hurrying up to get from one to another job right now. Right now, the subcontractors rule the roost. They own the general contractors, and the general contractors out there know that. They know it. They can pick and choose what job they want. If that general contractor was an asshole to them in another job, they don't particularly have to work with them on the next job because they're flooded with work right now. So they can pick and choose what jobs they want to go to. But there is also a labor shortage
Why
because
is
after
that? I
COVID,
would think construction would be slow right now with interest rates.
oh no, it's still booming. It literally is, because they're still building houses. They're still building. I mean, condos and all kinds. Look at downtown. Look at the Pearl, right? Look at what's happening.
It's because
around Lone
people
Star.
can't afford to own, so they're renting, and so they're putting up all these
Apartments,
multifamilies.
exactly.
Yeah,
Apartments are
that
popping up
explains it.
everywhere, and where you have apartments, well, you need a shopping center to support the living conditions, and you need a gas station there because
Right.
people don't want to go far. Now you need charging stations. So, like, somebody who's in red Tesla over here, but you need to have a charging station. So like Eric. So for instance, Erica's mom is building a house, right? She's building a house, so she has to have a charging station. It's required by City Code Chapter 10, which is what we follow here in San Antonio. So we have National Building Code, we have a local building code, right? Chapter 10, which supersedes whatever the national is, and so they're the AHJ. So they have to put a charging station in the house that she's building. She was like, I'm not gonna ever own an electric vehicle. Why do I have to do that? And I go, it's like having smoke detectors.
Just in case.
Wow.
It's like
That's
having
a thing now.
That's not
it is. Okay.
That's not a thing in Orlando though.
No, it is. So in Washington State, we're adding on to an affiliate's office, right? He's adding almost 7,000 square feet. He's got to put 9 EV charging stations there.
Wow.
9. And
What?
so yes, on his dime.
No way.
Way.
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
crap, that's crazy.
The grid is going
his
down, y'all.
dime.
Sorry.
Not only-
I don't know
Texas
what to
got a
tell
different kind of
you,
grid.
like,
Not only
Let's not go back to 2021.
we got the podunk grid. The podunk grid almost died in that snowstorm.
not only on his dime, but think about all 9 spaces right in front of his office or off to the back side. Still, it's taking up spaces, and then his ADA spaces that he has to have also. And then one of those charging stations has to be an ADA compliant station, and then he can have regular parking for just the people.
That's
Did you
crazy.
know that?
I know. I didn't even
Yeah.
know that was a thing
Okay,
anymore.
you would have.
You know everything. I'm
Yeah.
like shocked that you
and
didn't
I
know that.
love this information. This is so
Yeah.
crucial. And you talk about like new dental practices building out. That's such pertinent information for them to know, right? They need to build that in because let's be honest, a lot of their financial institutions aren't informing them of that.
No.
Right.
So where are they going
They
to
don't
get
know
that
that.
from? Unless because honestly, the general contractor probably isn't going to tell them either until it's too
No.
late. Like
So how
now all of a
much
sudden,
does
how do I
that
budget
increase?
this in?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
Yeah,
you.
no, you're good.
How much does that increase? Like, what's the incremental lift on cost there? Like,
So that's gonna be around 23,000 for those
So-
stations.
so-
and he's
so-
got to buy certain stations. I don't even know what the stations
Wait,
cost.
23 each?
23 for all of them for
Still,
nothing.
Okay.
still,
I was
I
gonna
don't
say
know,
this.
but I don't know what the
Still.
stations
Yeah.
cost. I don't have no idea what the stations cost. This is like new, but
That's
he's got
nuts.
yeah. And now
they're trying to make you quit.
yeah. Yeah, he's
I-
trying to
I-
improve the area.
Just like
but he's gotta
Google's
do
trying to
that.
make me quit my job.
I've got a marketing question.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's say a new dental practice opens up and they have
They
access
have the
to beer.
same, yeah.
Can you market that to?
Oh, that's a
Absolutely.
feature.
Is
you
that
can
good?
put
Is
that
that-
on
Absolutely,
your
that's an
maps
attribute.
listings
Yeah.
because they want to know if they have electrical
Absolutely.
parking hookups
like
there.
I have an electric vehicle, right?
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
that would be a huge benefit for me.
It would
Absolutely.
be.
Like
Absolutely.
I'm there an hour and a half or whatever. I can charge
Yeah.
my car while I'm
It's the
waiting.
And if you
Same-
got an ADA compliant electrical, spot too, that's huge. Let's,
Yeah. I
didn't
let's
think about that.
Boost
Yeah.
that in a huge way.
Yep.
Man.
Yes, great question. Because we also will promote parking in certain areas of the country where parking
Yeah,
is a
that's right.
luxury.
Yeah.
Not here in Texas where I'm like, I have to walk 5 feet. What?
I can't park right in front.
Where's my VIP
I know.
spot at the 7-Eleven? But
Pick me up in my golf cart.
I come here all the time. Yeah.
yeah, but so we'll on our GBP if it's in Manhattan or something, right? Or LA, we'll say parking available, reserved parking, and
Dedicated.
what's up?
GBP.
Oh, Google Business Profile.
Sorry,
Okay, got
yeah,
it.
that's marketing speak.
Apple Maps too, right? Like
Okay.
basically
Yeah.
just the way people want to navigate to your place. You want to list all that information there available for them so that they have the understanding right from the get go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and
I
that
didn't
would
think
be a
about
market
that.
dependent one too,
Sure, it could be, right?
probably,
Depending on your
right?
market.
Like you'd want to know because when it comes to differentiators, you can't always say it all, right? So you have to
yeah.
say the things that are relevant and relatable to the people you're serving, the majority of your audience. And so although that is a great value add, there may be certain areas of the country, like if you're in a rural spot,
Yeah,
Is it-
that doesn't work.
Nobody's
Yeah.
checking for that. You know, they're in their 4x4s, right? Like they're in
Yeah.
their Denali's. Like
Yeah.
they're getting 5 miles to the gallon,
Yeah.
you know? And so they don't care. But then there's certain areas of the country where that's probably the only thing they're looking for above
Yeah.
insurance.
Teslas
Above
are
insurance.
25% of the cars on the road. So it's
Yeah.
like, they're
Right.
like, where
Is
can
that
I charge?
true?
Is
In
that
certain
really?
areas, you know?
Yeah, it's big.
Like, yeah.
They're cheap now.
Mm-hmm.
Relative.
Well, I mean, there's all the Uber drivers have them. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do they really?
Almost all of them.
Big metro areas,
Yeah.
anyways. Yeah.
Well, because they don't. Well, I'm really derailing here. Okay, let's keep going. Horror stories. Okay, can we tell some?
Absolutely,
Okay,
yeah.
so ours are not like that. There's no
don't
like
know. We got some pretty
sewage
nasty
involved.
ones.
We just dealt with one non-competes, and there's so much
Oh,
talk.
my
Okay, so
God.
there's so much talk about non-competes right now because it's on the floor right now to be passed, where
Right.
non-competes are essentially irrelevant. Now,
Enforceable or not?
yes,
Correct,
and
yeah.
my business attorney, shameless plug, Matt Duke. He's a good friend and
Great guy.
Oh, he's a great attorney.
that
I
right?
mean,
Okay.
yes, he specializes in healthcare. Actually, he was. He comes from like the hospital space, right?
Yeah,
A hospital admin sort of attorney. But decided to start his own firm. And the way I met him is when I started TD, remember I was in this 140 square foot little
Yeah.
closet with me
Yeah.
and 3 other people and in this co-working space.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah,
I remember
that's
that.
how we
Rite of
started.
passage, yeah.
Rite of passage,
Yeah.
right? Pay your dues.
You gotta do it.
Anyway,
Look
I
at
was
us.
there.
I mean, we're in a,
You could
like,
fit
yeah.
0 ops in there, docs.
Baller
That's
studio.
what that
What are you
means.
talking about?
No way,
But-
dude.
This is the $4 million pad. What are you talking about?
And we're and he was also just launching his firm, right? And so he asked me on his podcast. We got to know each other. We got to be good friends and like just kind of support each other and cheer each other on as he's building his business out. And yeah, so he ends up being my business attorney now. Anyway, I saw this article about non-competes, which we get asked about all the time with our startups, like associate docs leaving,
Oh,
and,
yeah,
and they
yeah,
want to. Marketing is very sensitive to the non-compete, right? And so we get those questions all the time, and it's very much like this conversation has to be had in discretion. My employer doesn't know, right? And we are super, super sensitive to all that. We never cross those boundaries.
Yeah, we realize that.
Yeah, but I saw this article and I reached out to him and I said, "Hey, is this pushing through?" And he goes, "Nicole, this happens every 3 years. Like, it's not going to go through. It never goes through. It's always what's it called? I don't know politics like you do.
Well, it just gets like basically held up in committee or something like that. Yeah.
Voted down. I think that's the terminology. It gets voted down every time. So he's like, don't worry about it. It's like not in play, actually. I mean, we're
Okay.
watching it, but you should know what's going on. Keep abreast of it, associates. Those starting your practices, I think it is an important sort of current event that's happening that's very impactful for you. But the big dental corporations aren't going to let it happen. So, you know.
Veronica, when she's putting things out for bid, projects, she has to like in bold letters and on the phone tell these bidders, hey, this is confidential.
Right.
Please do not reach out. Don't Google the doc
Yeah.
and call them at their place of employment because you will jeopardize their employment.
Yeah.
Because how many times have we seen they're like, hey, I don't have a job anymore. I just got terminated because they found out I was building up a startup or something. And
Yeah, no,
Ooh,
so,
really?
so,
Yes.
so
Wow.
listen to what happened to us. I get served at work. Yeah, at the office. I get served.
Subpoena for
I'm like,
evidence.
that is not a good feeling if that's ever happened
for
to
sure.
you. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm a good girl. Like, I don't get served, you know?
Oh, she's like walks in with this manila folder and she was like, Steve, help.
Okay, I'm caught up in my cord.
That's funny.
But yeah, I'm like, I don't want to open it. You open it. What is it? I don't even think that's legal, but whatever. And turns out I'm being subpoenaed, or the agency is, because of a non-compete violation, which I know the doc well. Good client, good people,
Good
good
people.
family, good practice. They did not break their non-compete. In fact, they were so intentional, so over the top with concern.
Mike was not the producer on that one, was he? No, that
Nope.
was Dre.
Yeah.
But like literally, like they were the entire time. They're like,
Yeah.
wife can't be in photos, like all this stuff, just to really make sure that they did not even give a hint of she's involved.
And out of ethics, too. They wanted to honor their contract. They were trying to do the right
for sure.
thing. But just the fact that this associate's husband, she's not even on an owner. She's not even
She's not
practicing.
an owner. She's never there. She
She's
doesn't do
just
anything with
his
it.
wife. and they come after her. They throw the book at her. I mean, they are telling me I'm gonna have to go up to the. I'm not gonna say the location because I don't want to disclose too much information.
Sure,
Obviously, I'm not looking to be like dragged into court right now, but or to hurt their chances. But essentially, like they're telling me I'm gonna have to go out of the city, go testify about this, and I'm like, no, so I contact Matt. He got me out of it, thankfully, because it was such an overreach of law, like such.
But
an
we still had to
overreach.
produce a lot of information.
I mean, it took us
all
days.
the emails, all the drive files, everything, all the metadata for everything, and like just to help this DSO, which is going through all this arbitration effort to try and bury this doc who's done nothing wrong.
And
right?
by the
That's so
way,
wrong.
like
It's so wrong.
the
And we felt
family is
terrible. And
going
then-
through like medical trauma, like it's terrible.
And because of this entire effort, they had to eventually say, hey, look, we can't work with Transcendental anymore because we can't afford it in addition to all these legal expenses
wild.
we're having to go through
Yeah.
for this. And it's like, golly.
and we everything we gave, none of it would suggest that she had broken her non-compete. None of
it was...
So it was all just because it's all just like this strong arming
Yeah.
DSO thing.
Like a slap.
It's
a
because-
slap
Yeah.
lawsuit.
And
basically.
they can do it because these guys are on their retainer. They're there like, they got shit to do. Like, hey, let's
Yeah.
go after this person.
And Matt's
Here's
like,
something to do.
Matt's
they'll
like,
just throw
these
the book at 'em
guys
and-
are just, they're ridiculous. They're,
Oh, he was like, when somebody's legit, they'll be respectable. Yes, hard, but respectable and
well,
understand.
he was saying they're sharks in court, not
Exactly.
sharks before court.
Yeah.
That's what he said. But these guys are like just trying to ruin
They're just trying to
everybody's
kill
lives.
everybody. Yeah.
So they just
Yeah.
cast like a wide blanket.
Oh, they were like,
And then
we're
see, like,
burning it all
what'll
down.
catch.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm like, I'm this small little company. I'm not, it's like,
And that's one of the things that, the dentists and people in business, entrepreneurs, not just dentists, have to be mindful of, right? A CPA, an attorney, right? A marketing company, just different. There's these different things that they have to have.
I could
as part
not
of their
survive
business.
without my CPA.
Yeah.
He's amazing. He's like a mentor to me, and my attorney.
Yeah.
Those
Good people.
those are the two people you have to vet. Referral.
Yeah.
Somebody has used them because I've had business attorneys in the past who were not out for my best interest.
Yeah.
And
Or they don't respond in time.
Oh my
they're
God.
or they're
not
just
like
in it.
working
They're just
with.
in it for the retainer. They don't actually care what happens to you.
Yeah.
And not to
And
speak
it's
bad of
unfortunate.
attorneys, but
No,
some of
it's-
them are like that. Just like some marketing companies.
Yeah,
are
those
like
yeah.
marketing companies
Yeah.
are soups. Tons of people. do
Yeah,
that.
there are, and it's unfortunate that you have to have those people on your staff because, or on retainer because but it's just a necessary evil nowadays. Everything is very litigious,
Yeah.
right?
So I would say when you're thinking about marketing horror stories, non-competes are typically, a systemic.
And you
cause
have
of
to
that.
be mindful of that, right?
Yeah.
Be mindful
Very mindful. And it
there's
like
a-
plays into what we do big time.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of people that jump into contracts because they want the paycheck, they want the payout, right? Whatever. So they'll just sign the dotted line.
They don't read it.
and they don't read it, and they don't
Yeah.
realize the downwind effect of what could happen in just a year or two.
So then,
Right.
do you recommend these dentists having another attorney read?
Oh, you've got to have a
The
great
non-compete?
attorney read your non-compete before you sign anything. And
Like-
that's just not for
Don't
dentists.
sign
That's for
anything. An
everybody.
LOI, a lease. Don't sign a contract with me without your
without having
attorney
somebody-
reading it.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
we tell our docs before they sign a contract. I don't care how many times I've worked with that particular contractor. If it's an AIA contract, if it's the contractor's version of an AI contract or their own contract, whatever three it is, I still tell them like, look, I'm gonna read through it and look at it, but I'm not an attorney.
My first,
You need to have somebody read it.
My first business attorney used to send me so many contracts and documents with another client's name in them. Like it happened almost every time. And I was
That's
like,
like a- that's
I
like a
don't feel
sign.
safe with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't feel safe with you.
You talk about horror stories. There was one where her previous attorney sent her a contract, and it was so atrociously against her favor. Her own attorney, right, sent it. We looked at it and we were like, how in the world could somebody send that and think that their own client would pay them and then also sign it? Like, you really got to vet your attorneys just to make sure
Yeah.
they're actually on
Yeah.
your own side and not just cashing a check, writing up invoices, and seeing you to hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Okay,
man.
other marketing horror stories, I would say We do marketing audits for prospects. Like if a client comes to us with an existing website, we do a whole online audit, competitor audit, audit their ads, audit their website. Anyway, we did an audit. This is the one where on every single page of the website, the city was misspelled.
Oh, yeah.
The most important word in your website is your city. Like, that's the one thing Google's looking for. If
Yeah.
your marketing company is misspelling the location, and I say that, but I know that we've done that once before and it killed me.
Okay, but there's a bigger horror story here, right?
Okay.
Like, I'm going to talk about this, and this is from a marketing perspective, that so many of them, their online assets, right? Whether it be their Google business profile, their website, right? Obviously, their branding and everything else, like, they don't have their hands around it, right? And what's worse is that these practices will get a custom-built, quote-unquote, bespoke product, right, in some foreign language built on a tech stack that almost nobody else touches.
Yeah.
And they'll realize that, okay, it was put 80% of the way there, right? But I need to, like, that company can't take it all the way to 100%, so I can't compete with the big boys in my market. So I need to get somebody else to take it over and carry it the rest of the way there. The problem is that what'll end up happening is they'll go to the next company and they'll be like, hey, look, I need y'all to take this over and massage it the rest of 20% of the way there, right? You know what? You've written this website in some obscure language, and it is on a tech stack that has to have its own custom server just to be able to host it. Like, we can't just take your website as it is. We have to rewrite everything in a common tech stack that can actually work well, and not just for our own purposes, right? So that the next company you go to in 5 years or 2 years or whatever the time frame is, right, they can take it over and not have to rewrite everything from scratch again, and you're all of a sudden starting from zero, right?
Yeah.
They don't realize that, and it's a tragedy because they just dropped $15K on that website. We wouldn't even charge that much, but like, you know, it's like they just dropped a ton of money on that website that now is like, you're married to that company. So like, you need to really vet their processes, their methodologies, and make sure that they're going to serve you in a way that you can also leave them. Which, listen, for marketing agencies, for developers, that's the scary thing, right? Like building something that exists beyond me, right? You still need that. And as a business, you need to make sure that they're going to look out for you hard enough that they're willing to see themselves out of the picture and allow you to move on without them so that you can grow and be better and do better.
Yeah.
Not be married to them as a product and a service.
Yeah. Do not sign a contract on a website that you don't own the rights to full out immediately.
Wow.
You know, these startups, they love to finance their websites.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Finance?
So a lot of these big companies will sell templated copied content websites to these startups for a cheap price, $2,000, $3,000, way cheaper than ours. And then they'll finance it out. And they'll say, you get a brand new website for your practice for $100 a month. You're welcome.
Wow.
Then 12 months later, they have no patience, zero patience. Maybe not 12 months later. Let's call it 6 months later. So before term. They have zero patience. They want to move on. Hey, I want to work with Transcendental. Sorry, you haven't paid off your website yet. You don't own it.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Not that
I've
we
heard
would,
stories
yeah,
like that.
and not that we would take that website anyway. We don't want your shitty ass website, but you know what I mean. Like,
But even just a URL, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Exactly.
they won't give it up to you.
Oh, yeah. Well,
that's
You
the
won't
worst
have
part.
DNS access.
Yes.
You won't have any of that.
DNS, the zone files,
Yeah.
like hosted on their server,
Yeah.
and it's a nightmare
Mike,
to get
talk
it.
about the
1000%.
domain. Talk about domain ownership. What you were just talking about. Elaborate on it.
Elaborate on it?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really have much to say since I'm not really big into that space, but I can just imagine that, you know, you're a brand new dental practice, right? And you have, like, say you make Smiles in Seattle, whatever, right? And then you think you want to buy that URL, but you're like, this marketing company said they said they're going to do everything for me, and since I finance it, right? So they'll buy it,
Yeah.
and then you won't have access to any of that information. You set everything up. Let's say you even set up your email, right? Info
On their
at
mail
Smiles
server.
in Seattle, right? They have the
Yes.
server. They have access to
Yeah.
all the emails. They have.
Yeah.
And then you're like, this marketing company sucks.
Yeah.
Ass. Beep,
Yeah.
you know, and it's not working. And
There it is,
There it is. There it is.
It
And
was late.
then, you know, you find Nicole and she's awesome. She's amazing. She's going to help you out. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I've already got my branded dental practice, right?
Yeah.
And I've got everything that's, you know,
Yeah.
that's already
Yeah.
done. You spent so much money on it.
Yeah.
You don't have access.
The domain's everything.
Yeah.
It's
You
because
should.
they're listed as the domain registrar. And
Oh,
so,
yeah,
like
absolutely.
technically, you paid for it all, but they're listed, and if they want to hold it, they can. And so, all of a sudden, you get into this little bit of a fight, and they're like, "Oh, well, we don't want to let it go because you're our cash cow."
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, the new marketing agency has to wrangle it out of their hands, God willing, you know. And if they do it right, you're lucky. It only takes a little bit of time, but so many times, and we'll see, we'll be like on the receiving end of that, where we'll be like, let's just get it brought over. We'll try to clean it up for you. And whether it's the zone file, the name server records, the registration efforts, right? All that, just getting it extracted out without your website being down for several days at a time, or there being something lost in the mix, and all of a sudden they don't have any of their emails anymore. They don't have any of the domain registration information anymore. They're just so broken in that process. I honestly wish we could write a white paper, just like a one pager that says, look, here are the must haves of the stuff. It's like when you set up an LLC and do a DBA. It's like, here are the things that need to be in your name. As far as like setting up your online presence, here are the things that need to be in your name. And here's how you delegate out access to make sure that, yes, somebody else can do it for you, but they can't control it. You can move on beyond them so that you're not handcuffed.
I've been in horror stories with social media.
Yeah.
Right. I've helped out some, you know, either marketing companies or know of people who have marketing companies. They'll do your social media, even like internally.
Yeah.
Right. Like
So true.
when a company that will not be named that I was working before, we switched because leadership switched or whatever switched, right? Marketing director switched or this and that. And then it's like, okay, but we want to get back to LinkedIn. Who has the credentials?
It's Abby. She's a sophomore in college, and she's already.
We want to stop those ads that aren't working, but we can't even log in.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
Is that when you type in like the name and there's like 3 different profiles that come up? Because
Right,
they
right.
started
It's
a
even
new one
better.
because-
It's
Oh,
like
that's the
it's
worst.
even better. It's like forgot password. Okay, type in the email to send the email back to.
Oh my
wait,
it goes to their personal.
whose
Yeah.
email is it?
yeah.
And you'll never figure it out.
Oh.
No, I know. Yeah, and when it comes to
God,
the
dude,
domain,
that's-
you know, we always tell them like, because they'll be they get scared by the domain purchase.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Startups are so scared by the domain purchase.
They
and
ask
so they'll-
us to purchase it for them.
They're like, Nicole, please do it for me. I don't want to touch it. Please do it for me. Please do it for me. I love you so much. I'm not doing it for you.
It's because
this is
we
a
love you, we're
very,
not gonna do it for
very
you.
valuable asset to your business. That is none of my business.
Yeah.
We'll
Now,
get on a video screen share and show you how to do it.
Yeah, and we'll
We're not gonna
advise
do it
you
for
on we'll advise you on which one to buy, right? From
Yeah.
a marketing and SEO standpoint. But no, I don't want that in my account. That is yours to own. To the
Yeah.
point where when we sat down with the story we were talking about, the doc that we sat
Yeah.
down with yesterday,
Oh my God, he has some good
he
domains.
was so proud. He was glowing, and he had a printout of his GoDaddy account. That was the first thing he
Okay.
showed us.
Oh, yeah.
I was
That's-
like, I'm Nicole. He's like, look at my GoDaddy account.
Oh, it was like, man, like if you could have some high value domains that
Yeah, yeah.
controlled a 20-mile radius around an
He
area.
had them all.
Oh, and he
Really?
was like, there are, you know, practices that are raking in $5 million a year that
Jesus.
want to buy
And
these
they're
domains.
like, we'll pay you.
He
so
literally
much
doesn't
money.
have a website and he owns these domains.
Wow.
How frustrating if you're his competitor and your practice name is the domain he owns and he doesn't have a website. I would be like, this is a form of torture.
Oh,
like,
I know.
All for $30 a year, right?
and they're willing to pay him millions, but he knows he wants to exit, right? So he called us in and he's like, what do you think? I'm like, do not sell those.
This is how you get that massive exit to a DSO later on, right? They're going to
Right,
buy
that's
your
what the-
practice just for that.
I was like,
Just for that
this is
domain
worth
name.
a lot more to that DSO who's about to buy you than it is to that dog down the street.
Stocks and bonds. Stocks and bonds aren't where it's at. It's domain names.
Yes, it's like
Wow.
let us build a website on that. Let's mature it for 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
And dude, you're gonna exit for twice, you know, what they would offer you right now.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
That is
Right.
cool. You know, so speaking of like domain places where you can buy them, I've always liked GoDaddy. The old company had GoDaddy for a short time, but I loved it. It was so easy to use, so friendly, and then they got rid of it and got Outlook, which sucked. I didn't really like Outlook.
So
Yeah.
GoDaddy is hands down the one we prefer to work with.
Security wise.
There's so much I hate about it, but
Oh, really?
nonetheless, they are the 600-pound gorilla in the room.
Yeah, absolutely.
They allow marketing agencies to have delegated access, so we can go in there and help a practice set up the right stuff without owning anything.
Yeah.
And so it's like they do the best out of anybody.
Wow.
Yeah.
But there's a fee for that because they're the best. Yeah, right.
Yeah, sure.
And now you have like a admin or a sub account or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
have
we're
two,
learning that.
two more horror stories for you.
Okay.
One, we were talking about signage earlier and
Yeah.
how
It's a hot
docs who are
topic.
starting up practices don't check their lease or LOI for signage stipulations. And so one of my oldest clients, in fact, he was with me before I founded Transcendental. He's one of my original consulting clients up in Denver. Love him to death. He's like family to me. And he had a 3 storefront anchor spot, okay, brick and mortar. And he's next to like, I can't remember, a
weed
grocery
shop?
store,
Oh,
a big
okay.
big box retailer of some kind,
Yeah,
an
yeah.
anchor of some kind. And he's got these 3 storefronts, and I get so excited. I mean, how often do you get a practice with 3 like basically street facing, traffic facing storefronts? I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm about to make you so much money. You're going to spend a lot, but then you're going to make a lot, right? And we start planning signage, and they're like, no, 1 sign. I said, but we have 3 storefronts. No, 1 sign. No, but we have 3 storefronts. No, but you only signed on for 1 sign.
Oh.
So he is paying a premium
Yeah.
for the street visibility and storefront, and he's not able to use it for brand impressions. Do not sign an LOI or a lease without checking the signage stipulations. In addition to that, temporary signage,
Oh.
window clings, storefront wraps, grand opening banners are so important for a new practice. So important. They drive more traffic than you think they do. He was literally in the parking lot of a Starbucks facing the drive-through window and couldn't put a sign there.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And
Could you imagine the
Tragic.
heartburn over that?
Tragedy,
I was like,
right?
he was like, what do I do? I'm like, I'm getting my baseball bat. Look, I can shake down. I can shake down. I'm coming up there, And and then like, we are big on point of sale marketing. We're big
Yeah.
on clings, storefront wraps.
He should get a car wrap and
Yeah.
then just park it right
Yeah.
in front of
Right.
like,
Stick
Oh,
it to them. Stick it
there
to
you
them.
go.
Yeah. And so there's been practices we've had onboarded before where it's like, okay, it's time for your banner. It's time for your grand opening banners. Let's do storefront wrap. Let's do clings, whatever it is. And then the landlord comes and says, we don't do any temporary signage. I'm like, do you also like your tenants to fail?
Oh,
That's always my
Right.
response. Oh, okay. So you don't want them to pay their rent? Got it. Thanks.
I
It's
can hear you
nuts.
say that. to
Yeah,
them,
you know you can. Yeah. So, so that's another one. And then I would say, so let's see, it was non-compete signage.
Can they put like the big inflatable balloon thing on top of their building?
The little wavy dude out there.
Yeah.
Fun fact, my 10-year-old, when you ask him what he wants to be when he grows up, he says he wants to be one of the guys on the street dancing
On the
with
street
sign.
with the sign.
Sign
I
spinner.
mean, now he wants to be Patrick Mahomes. But
There's-
before
Oh, yeah, yeah.
that,
Oh, he's gonna
he
be
wa-
Patrick Mahomes,
Oh, he will
but-
be Patrick
There's
Mahomes.
there's some social media accounts. The guy
Yeah.
holding the sign,
Yeah.
he's making money.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're
All right.
balling, and they won't tell you how much they're making, but they're making boatloads.
Yeah.
He's making money.
Heck yeah.
And he's like, I want it, Mom. I remember one day we were driving, and I love this kid. He's like me, super book smart, but like no street smarts, like no common sense, airhead to the T, right? And so we're driving.
He's not that. If you know who he is, he's not that.
Okay, we're driving, and we see one of those guys. He's like, Mama, what do you have to do to be that guy? Like, that's what I want to be when I grow up. I'm like, turn green light. And then one of the other funny things he said, I'm totally derailing, but I just have
That's
to.
all right.
Okay, one of the other things he said, we were driving through Chick-fil-A like any good family with little kids does on a daily basis. And he's like begging me for Chick-fil-A. We get in the drive-thru, and I'm like, okay, buddy, what do you want? No joke. This kid says hamburger.
Oh, he's all about the beef protein.
Doesn't he see the
funny.
cows that say
more
more
chicken.
chicken?
Eat more chicken, less beef.
It's obviously the out-of-home advertising is a little over.
Yeah, I tell you, man. I mean, the Chick-fil-A, the whole Chick-fil-A thing, though, I want to be like them one day.
Yeah.
Where I can
That's
close
how you
on
run
Sunday.
a business.
I know, right?
You know,
Yep.
and I can close on holidays.
Oh,
religious
and
holidays.
use that as a marketing technique,
Like,
right?
hey, man,
Like,
there's no
Yeah.
excuse. We're closed on Sundays and religious holidays. We're closed also, right?
Yeah.
To have that much moxie, clout,
Yeah.
leverage, whatever you want to call it, to be able to do
They're
that.
consistent and they're good.
And they
Yeah.
say you're welcome
Yeah,
and thank you,
absolutely.
and
My
that's
pleasure.
why.
oh, yeah. And they hire people that are nice at the front of the office. It's
So
like,
in my
you know?
in my hometown in Kendall, down in South Florida, they actually the owner, because I know it's like crazy hard to get a franchise for Chick-fil-A, but the owner of the one in Kendall on 88th Street, they decided to try something new where they wanted the workers to have a 3-day work week.
Yeah.
And so they implemented a strategy where you work 12-hour days, 12,
Oh, yeah.
13-hour days, something like that, and you only work 3 days a week. He got thousands of applications, thousands upon thousands of applications. Because, some people like, that work-life balance where
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
you get 4 days off. Oh, my God, that's
Yeah.
amazing. And I work at Chick-fil-A. I like working Chick-fil-A. A lot of people like that,
Yeah.
Seriously.
What a huge,
Well, not to mention,
huge
if they
implementation.
want to go work somewhere else and pick up more hours,
That-
now all of a sudden it's like I have a
Like-
full-time work schedule here, and I can also go somewhere else.
Absolutely.
Like the fire department.
Yes.
The fire department, 48 on, 24 on, 48 off, right?
Exactly.
You know, they do that. And so
Have the flexibility of
Flexibility.
choosing something else
Yeah.
if I want to.
also
or
in
nothing.
In our industry, we're losing so many, tradesmen and workers, skilled labor, because they're going to like, hey, man, I can go work at Bill Miller or some place for 17, 20 bucks an hour.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so like, air condition, so it's tough. They're like, yeah, but you got a skill, you got a trade, right? Eric over here, I just graduated, a year ago or so from, when did you graduate from college? Last year, right? She got thrown into dental marketing, but on a construction company, right? Never thought she'd be doing what she's doing now, because, when you go to school, right?
Yeah.
We got an Aggie over here. Well-rounded, you go to school for your marketing degree, and it's like...
I don't know if Aggies are well-rounded, though.
I don't know.
Look, I grew up at A&M. I'm joking.
You grew up in 8. Well, hold on. Where'd you go to college?
Okay, so that's a dirty story.
I'm like, tell
Let's
me about
continue these
your
horror
degree,
stories.
dude.
Look, here's the thing. I grew up in 4-H, and I had the most wild country kid lifestyle, okay? I literally judged grass and went to state for it, okay? I was an entomology major.
He literally would watch the grass for hours.
No.
Are you
college
gonna
is
help me?
that?
Are you gonna help me with my zoysia grass back
Oh,
home?
you don't understand. That's out. That's 2003.
Can you imagine the standards of the lawn at home? It's like,
No. But so I would go to A&M every summer and like basically live there for 4 weeks doing all types of agricultural competitions. So I can talk a little bit of shit, although I did go to UT. So
UT? Go hard. I didn't go to college. I know you went to
University of Miami, yeah.
University of Miami. Veronica is a Cardinal. She went to Incarnate Word.
there you go.
Erica went to university I can't pronounce.
It's one of those expensive ones, right?
Yeah. It's one of the fun ones, I think.
There you go.
She went to. But yeah, and so I just went to the School of Hard Knocks. I just went to work.
Oh, yeah.
I
But-
went to the greatest university on earth, so
Right.
yeah.
Sure. Sure.
That's an Aggie right there.
That's an
Facts.
Aggie.
I bleed maroon.
I know.
I want to turn it
Yeah,
around a little
it's
bit.
right. It's like a thing. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So we.
Oh no,
we,
I was just
okay.
flashing
They
the
all,
ring.
every Aggie
So
I
we
know
talk-
wears a ring.
Oh, I know.
No, my kids are always like, "Are you ever going to take it off?" I'm like, "No, honey, you get
No,
you
is that
die
a,
with
is
it,
that
honey.
a thing they
get-
tell you in school?
No, you get buried
It might
with
get
it.
passed down,
All
but
You
the
cannot take it off.
Okay, there's a big construction company here in Texas that's got lots of regions. I think they almost all their supers and their project managers, general superintendents are all graduates from A&M.
You
they
hire
all
the
wear
family.
their rings.
Yes.
All of them. Is that like a thing in
oh,
school?
it's like Masonic Lodge
Do you know
level
what I
of
had
cult.
to do to get this ring?
Yeah, graduate 4 years
Drink-
of school.
I
drink
had
4
to
ounces of beer.
maintain a 2.5 GPA. Okay.
2.5.
High standards over here from the.
Right?
I'm just kidding.
What is it? C's
so
get
let me
degrees?
explain.
C's
So
get
let me explain.
degrees.
Let me explain. I liked my freedom. So my freshman and sophomore year, I averaged like 2.5. I got a nice little letter was sent home to my mom that said, "Your money
She's
is
not gonna
being
get a ring."
wasted."
Yeah.
And all it took was a little conversation from my mother and a little bit of a reality check, but I graduated with a 4.0 in marketing.
There you
So-
go.
Nice.
Well, you know what is what C's get degrees is what I've heard before.
Yeah.
You know, and
Our
normally
kids love that
the
phrase.
the C people are the ones that run the world, right?
It's true.
Oh, C-suite, yeah.
It's true.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's true. But yeah, so anyway, but you also, outside of your GPA and showing up to class, right, you have to dunk your ring. Do y'all know this tradition?
No,
I do not.
never heard of that.
I can't wait to tell the story. Okay, can y'all hear me? Okay. Okay. I can't wait to.
Leaning
Okay,
very close.
so in Texas A&M tradition, you cannot earn your class ring, which, by the way, is more important than your degree at A&M.
That is the degree, right?
That is the degree.
Got it.
Because it's the life loyalty degree outside of the curriculum degree. Okay, it is. I am committed to this institution. I'm committed to serving my country. I'm committed to serving my community. I'm committed to being an upstanding citizen. I'm committed to giving back to the world, right? That is what this ring stands for. And so you dunk it in a pitcher of beer of your choosing. Okay, I want to say it's 5 beers.
I know you.
Is it
It's an
Shiner?
IPA, right?
It's not
You
Shiner
can't
or something.
dunk 5 IPAs in 45 seconds. Unless you want to die. Anyway, so you get a pitcher of
Challenge
beer.
accepted, right?
Yeah, 5
exactly.
beers.
All right, Hefeweizen. We're going down.
V's like, wrap it up. I can see you doing the eyes. Y'all are doing the eyes.
I'm looking at Veronica.
so-
She's like looking around.
So you dunk the ring in the pitcher of beer in a group of your friends, and you have this, it's like a graduation party, but it's for your ring, okay? Your whole family comes, they're mortified, they're like, oh my gosh, should I pay all this money to watch my kid puke, right? That's what happens. That's what the tradition is. And so you put your ring in this pitcher of beer, it's like 5 beers, and you dunk it as quickly as you can, right? The guys can dunk it in like 45 seconds.
Is it like
5
natty
beers.
ice though? So it's like
Yeah.
It's like water.
Exactly.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
water. Yeah.
Exactly.
Hold on,
But you like train for this. You like, it's like training for the Olympics. You have to
You
train
spend
for
4
it.
years drinking a lot of beer every
Yeah.
night.
Okay.
And so I think I did mine in like just under 2 minutes, but I also did not hold it down.
Nice.
Man.
And now you know why my parents were like, and you're going to UT.
So I thought it was San Marcos was Texas State was the jump in the river thing, and I thought, oh wow, you have to jump in that cold ass water, but okay,
Yeah.
well I guess, but no, this is like
Okay, moral of this story, Texas colleges are cults.
Very much so.
So,
It doesn't matter
yeah.
which one.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's how I got the ring.
Wow,
Mike was
that's
saying.
how
I know.
Okay, let's-
I want to hear your interesting transition away from alcoholism.
Yes, Mike
let's
was
do
saying.
that. Okay, so we were talking about horror stories, right? Let's
Yeah.
flip it around.
Okay.
Can you give me an awesome example of a success story, but it starts as a horror story and it goes into success story, right? So let's say, you do your marketing audit,
Yeah.
right? And then this is a horror story because of the marketing audit. And then you guys turned it around and it became a huge success story. Do you guys have one of those?
Oh, I'm sure we do. I'm going to have to think on it in a second, though.
Okay, I got one.
Yeah, go.
All right, so Doc is in an area with really bad dims, right?
Are we talking LA right now? Are you talking LA?
No,
Oh.
not that one. I'm not going to name them.
No, I know,
But you're
but
going to
what
know as I start
market?
to describe it.
But what
Here in
market?
Texas.
Okay.
And they're wanting to stay, right? They're like, doesn't matter, need to make it work. So we make it work. However, they did want to start off as fee for service, right? And
So is this a new practice or is this
new practice, willing to do PPO, right? But we kind of massage them into the HMO space too, right? And as we launched, it's like, let's start looking at how we can differentiate you from everybody else. And let's start looking at how we can, everything from amenities to, lines of services that you're willing to offer. And really, Nicole did a great job of helping them expand on the product offering, helping them expand on the brand offering, really start to tell that story in an amazing way, which is why it's so crucial that you start early on, right? Because it was really a horror story from the beginning. You could see it unraveling. The doc didn't even know that they were about to step into a master class, of horror. And you're going to have teenagers running around getting beheaded by aliens. But
What are you talking? I'm like, what client is this?
oh, okay. Well, I can't name them on here, but
There were aliens involved?
no.
Oh.
Okay, maybe more. Not aliens.
That was the other dental practice.
Yes.
not this practice.
She caught that part, right?
No, but really massaged them, and it was a bit of a rough patch. Right, the doc was kind of peeved at us for a while, and
Really?
So
Mad at
over
us?
my head right now.
mad at us because they had a certain way they wanted it to go. They wanted it to all be
Yeah.
just cash cow, and it was just like, you don't understand. You're about to drive this thing into the ground and have a massive amount of debt. If not, you're going out of business, right?
Yeah.
But Nicole did such a great job. I wanted to fire this client. She did such a great job of keeping them on, massaging them into the right place. And we get there and we saw her at a conference, I don't know, I want to say 6 months ago. And she's doing 1.2 million now. And she was there with her
She has
sister.
so many docs that are doing more than 1.2 million. I mean, you gotta.
No, for sure. But I'm saying like in an area that was really rough, right?
Yeah.
And then she hadn't even closed in on a full year of doing business, right? Her first year, she's already clipped 1.2, and she's there with her sister, her mom, and she was like, Nicole, you've done such an amazing job of getting me here. Thank you for not letting me go my own way.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and this is one of those ones that I was like, I wanted to fire her so long ago, but can we get that in writing, please?
Oh, yeah.
Can you take out your phone? I want to record.
Yes.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, can we get a testimonial right now?
Yeah. I will also say there's one account specifically in a very competitive market, the most competitive in the country, actually. And I cared very much for this client. But he was not appreciative of myself or the team's efforts and had very unrealistic expectations. And we worked really hard, and I'm really proud of the results we got, even though he wasn't appreciative of them, because sometimes I have the context and perspective the client doesn't have, which is I've done 1 million practices in this market. You're getting good results.
Right.
You don't know what you don't know, and it's like, sometimes the client vendor fit isn't perfect.
Yeah.
And people have to move on. Whether it's the vendor deciding or the client deciding, it's like a bad relationship. You go in with good intentions.
Yeah.
And both can be good people. It's not like
Right.
it's just
It's just a misalignment.
There's a
of
Jeep for every
values.
chair.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's a misalignment of values, or the misalignment of direction or vision or something like that, right? Or the way things are done, right? Or even up to the communication style can even be an issue. So I have no bad blood with this client. Like, I respect him a lot. I think he's very talented, and I was sad to see him go, but at the same time I knew it was the right thing, because I'm like, if I can be getting you these kind of results in this market for this amount of spend and it's still not good enough,
Yeah.
it's never going to be good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah. Oh my gosh. I can't even think of my own horror story. I guess I'd have to ask Veronica, but I mean, of course she would probably pull out like 12.
Yeah.
No.
Other horror stories. I mean, you want to talk about the one we see the most, which is copy content.
Copy.
yeah, that happens a lot. Like,
It's so prevalent in dentistry. It's so bad.
I'm not gonna name our competitors, and they're really not competitors because we do the strategic stuff, right?
Different
but like
product.
people that are building websites that are not just templates, right? But like everything, but maybe the homepage is all copy content for all the procedure pages, right? And the docs, they think that they're getting a product that reflects their practice. The problem is they can't get ranked. They can't even get indexed on Google.
Google will literally blacklist you.
Really?
Like a criminal.
But it's like
Yeah,
a
it's
shadow
criminal.
blacklisting, right? You don't know you're blacklisted. You just know you're not getting anything, right? And so these docs are freaking out. They're 4 months past opening, and they're getting 3 new patients a month, and they're like, what the hell is going on? No matter what I do. And the crazy thing is they're getting this shadow ban of sorts, right?
Mm-hmm.
On their ads too. Like
Define,
it lowers your
define
ad
shadow
quality.
ban for those who might not know.
Yeah.
So shadow banning is, in effect, right, you are not getting results because the system, whatever system you're using, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, Google, you name it, right, they've deemed you to either be out of compliance with, a certain set of morals and ethics that they seem are necessary on the platform, right?
Yeah.
But also against their terms of service, right? Not so much that you are atrocious, right? It's just bad enough that they think that you are not healthy for the environment or their ecosystem. And so they're going to ban you. You're alive. You look alive to them, right? Or at least from your perspective, but everybody else can't see you because you are effectively shown to the side and out the back door, and you don't know it, right? So you're shadow banned on their platform. You don't know what's going on. You just know you're not getting leads off of it.
You're paying for clicks you're not getting.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
You're- You're paying for SEO and you're on the 5th page.
Fifth page would be a blessing, honestly.
Yes.
Like some of these are like on the 500th page, right?
Wow.
They'll never ever get found, discovered, or whatever, right? And the worst part is they might have bought a great domain that works great for their location.
And the website's so pretty.
And the websites are pretty,
So
but
pretty.
because they're shadow banned, their domain is now shadow banned too,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Wow.
So their domain is going to have a long-term heartache. Even if they get everything rebuilt, it's like you almost got to step away from that brand and rebuild on a fresh new set of sneakers.
Wow.
Right.
Oh yeah, because Google tied that IP address of that server to your domain with the website content that's tied in. And you can use tools like Wayback Machine to be able to see what a website looked like from a long time ago.
Yeah.
Google does the same thing on their systems. They know exactly what you look like from a long time ago. They're not going to let you just sneak off and rebuild, right? If you did something atrocious and you hired somebody that was bad, that was malicious, doesn't matter. You had copied content. It's basically like plagiarism.
Wow.
They don't want to see you anymore. They think that you're shady, that you're a shyster, and you're not good for the ecosystem.
Do you want to know the
You're out.
kicker? You got AI now, right? And Google has, what's it called? Bart.
Yeah, Bard.
I always want to say Bart. Is
Bard.
it Bart? Okay.
Bard.
Bard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bard, which is Gemini, because
Yes.
Right.
I kept calling it Bard. And,
Right.
Good point. They didn't
And-
rename
and
it to
Erica-
Gemini.
Erica
Thank you.
kept
I promise
telling
I
me
know what I'm
it's
talking about. Bard.
Yeah.
Anyway, the irony in Bard, right? Google was forced when GPT came out to create a product to compete.
Oh, they had to rush to market to be able to.
Rush to market. It's not as good, right? But the irony is, for organic search and the way the algorithm still works, it hates AI generated content.
Wow.
And so they created a product, but they expect you to not follow suit.
Yeah. Like if you use their product to generate content for your website, you would not show up on
Bye-bye.
their other product.
Yeah.
Google search, right?
Wow.
That's the irony.
Yeah.
Dang.
But here's the thing, right? Good quality content, whether it's photos and video, right? Whether it's copy, whether it's going out and actually building out a fresh new practice, right? That's all only done in a quality way by people that give a shit. Hit the button,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
You have to have a damn, right?
Yeah.
And we really call it the give a damn factor at Transcendental.
Yeah.
You have to care enough
Yeah.
that you're willing to bleed on that line
Yeah.
to build something that's going to stand the test of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do that, and it's going to matter. It'll take a little while to matter because Rome wasn't built in a day, right?
Yeah.
But it will matter because that's what the world wants, and Google knows that at the end of the day. And I say Google, it's ubiquitous, right? It doesn't matter what platform it's on, TikTok, Instagram,
Yeah,
Facebook,
yeah.
right? They want to see a quality product because that's what they want to serve up to their end user, right? The end user cares about that the most as well.
Yeah.
But it ultimately, I also feel like this is a huge thing, right? Like AI talk, we can get it.
Oh,
can
it's
get
such a.
into
I'm
the
like
weeds,
so
right?
sick of talking about it. It's like such a buzzword.
I know.
Yeah,
But,
keep going.
But even I feel like from my point of view, I'm as a creative, I'm starting to see it, and my bullshit meter is just like
Oh, yeah.
instantly.
Oh,
like,
It's so
yeah.
easy
Yeah.
to catch it,
Let's
too.
talk
Instantly
about our
seeing it.
bullshit meter on our employee evaluations.
Oh, wow.
We don't have enough time to go there today.
Do they use AI?
Lately, all of a sudden, when we have our performance evals for our team, oh my gosh, they're so comprehensive, like college application essays,
They're
and they're
using
so
ChatGPT
articulate
Yeah,
and
for
full
sure.
sentences and perfect grammar, and they're perfect. And we just read them and we look at each other. We go, You've been using our Chat GPT license to fill
Yeah,
out
for
your-
sure.
Oh wow, man.
And the best employees are like, you're right, because you're paying me here to do the work, not to fill out the application
Yeah.
or the self eval. And we're
Guess
like,
what? You get a
fair
5
enough.
for ingenuity.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair
And
enough.
resourcefulness.
Wow, man. I didn't even think about that.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
people using it
yeah.
for everything.
Yeah.
No, and I don't use it, and I know I should.
Look, there's an
I just
application
forget about
for
it.
it. Like
I forget about it.
It's really
When you're-
cool. It's
There is a good
really
space
good.
for it.
Like it could also replace your search engine if you really wanted it to. Like
Well,
if you have ideas.
I do
or
it the old
thoughts or
school
whatever.
way. There's a guy that we used to do a lot of work for that does a lot of startups, and he would write these very elaborate emails, and so I would keep his stuff in a format because I was like, "Shit, this is good."
Gold content.
You know, this doc was super pissed at him, but he wrote this email, and now he's like happy with them. So I'm like, I'm gonna save this. Or they were very comprehensive about the templates for.
He's all
For
in
intros
Chat
and
GPT.
stuff.
Chat GPT, tell me how to talk a dentist off a cliff.
Yeah, well, I was using this guy as Chat GPT. This guy was my Chat GPT. So I have his stuff in a folder and I would like label them and I'd go back, and so I would use that stuff. But I didn't even think about like the AI stuff when I write stuff. But of course, mine is very simple.
At the end of the day, it's just a tool, right? Like
Yeah.
if you use it as a tool, I think you're going to be successful with it. But
Yeah.
if you
It's an
rely on
enhancement.
it, exactly. Like I
Yeah.
like to use it as a starting point, right? Like
Yeah.
maybe I feel like I'm a great editor when
Yeah.
in language, right? In language, I feel like I'm a great editor, but it's really hard for me to put stuff on
Right.
paper,
Right.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Right.
So if I can
Yes.
get that starting point, I
Right.
know which way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But getting to that point is hard for me. But for people who just want to ask ChatGPT to do everything for them,
Oh, yeah.
it like a bullshit meter is going off for me. I'm sure the audience, like the world, the bullshit meter is going to be going off all the time, and you're just going to fail.
and the bullshit meter that matters is Google.
Yeah.
But can we talk about
That's the algorithm at this
Yeah.
point is bullshit meter. Like that's it.
But hang on, you brought up a great point a bit ago, right? That AI at this point is starting to replace search, right?
Yeah.
And what's interesting is a really cool stat that came out from Search Engine Land from one of the head researchers out there, Rand. He did a study, a meta-analysis, in which they found out that 60 to 70% of search is being replaced now by AI, and people aren't even clicking through to organic results.
Yeah.
Right?
That's scary.
And the ones that are clicking through, right, the majority of those are going to other Google assets, YouTube, ads, whatever, right?
The
Maps.
Reddit Google partnership.
Right.
Exactly,
Right.
right? Like they're going to
Right.
all those, and so now something only like 20% of search is actually clicking through to non-Google assets.
Yeah.
And so everybody
when
that's out
you're-
there trying to do search and
Yeah.
organic, you have to put so much effort in to get that quality content.
Yeah.
And it starts with your photos. It starts with the content on the website. It starts with good, clean code.
Hosting it on YouTube, right? Because then you
Yes.
get it higher on your page.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Exactly.
On the search page.
It's so crucial.
Yeah. So, but then the clients, they don't know any of this.
Of course not.
So they're
They
going
don't
out
take
using.
into account the economy. They don't take into account the algorithm updates. They don't take into account how AI is changing the world. And all of a sudden, you're screaming at your marketing team, going, "My calls have dropped." Yeah, man. Every practice across the country has gone down. Like our average call volume per month was like 75 to 100 calls per month through SEO and ads.
just
now
last
it's
month,
at
or
30.
last year, excuse me.
Yeah, now it's at 35.
Wow.
The exact percentage discrepancy of the stat he just said.
Yeah.
Hang.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
but,
not
you know,
the ad quality. It's not
It's-
the marketing team. And I don't mean that as a cop out. I'm being real. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's the world and the direction it's moving.
Yeah, it's very fluid,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well, hey, look, I got one story that I realized that I had. It was a horror story that turned into something positive. So, and it's one of our Google reviews. So we had a doc that we were working with that had hired a startup company. There's so many different ones out there, right? And consulting companies that help them with their startup, right? They had hired one and they had introduced us to them to help them kind of with the bidding process. So we were helping with that. And then they had an option to continue on with us direct or to just continue on their own, and they would get, help via the startup company periodically, because you know how it is. Everybody knows a little something about marketing and startup company. They know a little something about equipment. They know something about, front office and all that kind of stuff, right? So we didn't continue on with her because it was a startup, her budget was tight. She wasn't able to afford it. We're like, no problem. We understand. No,
And we do understand. We're startups
do.
ourselves.
Yeah,
exactly. We understand.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
don't wish them any. We liked her. We had worked with her for
Yeah.
a few weeks or so, and we had a relationship there. We thought she was really cool, and she is. So we didn't think anything of it. We get a call like probably 4 months into her construction project, and she calls me and she says, "Hey, she called me, but I wasn't able to answer. I was getting ready to get on a plane, so I got on the plane, and I saw her call, but we were taking off, and so you know how some people are on planes, are like, you're on your phone, you're not supposed to be on your phone. It's bad for the plane." As a pilot, I know that's bullshit,
This
but
tech,
I'm like, all right,
no,
whatever.
no, I know. And this tech guy, he's like, Nicole, you don't have to turn
Yeah,
your
you
phone
know
off.
She's like airplane mode. I'm like, oh my god.
Oh my god, this
Like,
doesn't work.
I'm a good girl. I don't get subpoenaed. I turn on it.
I know, right? We're looking at the flight attendant going like,
Yeah.
you're right. So anyway, so I get a week goes by. She called me back the next week, and so I'm like, shoot, she called me again. But let me get this time. I'm like, hello, and she's like, hey, oh my god, things aren't going real good. They haven't finished, and I don't know where things are. Blah blah blah. And I, it's supposed to be done by now. I'm like, damn, that's been like, and I'm thinking back, like it's been like three months ago. She goes, it's been 4. I'm like, oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that should have been done already. It wasn't a 2,000 square foot office. It was a little bit less. So I was like, it should have taken that long. And it was a guy that we'd worked with before, so we know he's competent and he's able to get it done. So I'm like, okay, let me call you back. I'm in the middle of something right now, and let me get some more information from you. So I called her back, got some more information. Veronica and I, we travel by RV primarily now. We still travel by plane, but we travel
RV's the way to
mostly
go.
by RV. Yeah, so we can spend more time there. So I said, hey, look, we're coming through Alabama. We'll be in Atlanta. Georgia, where she's located at.
Which part? I used to live there.
She was in southern. She was like southern Atlanta, I guess, more or
Okay.
less. So I said we're going to be going through there, heading to Carolina, South Carolina, North Carolina. I forgot who we were going to see. I think our CPA. And so she goes like, "Oh my god!" I said, "We'll be there on a Sunday though, so I don't know if you're able to meet us on a Sunday." We'll meet you. She goes, "I'll meet you on Sunday." I'm like, "Okay." So we were driving through. We met her on a Sunday. We got to the practice, and she opened up for us. We talked. We walked through. I'm like, "Man, we're almost done here." I'm like, "Golly, I don't. What's the issue?" She
What's the
goes,
holdup?
"Well," she goes, "I see you're," and I told her, "I see you're missing a few things," and I listed them out. And she goes, "Yeah, well, the dental equipment guy said that he can manage construction, that he's done it before, he's got experience, and it's not a big deal, and he can do it." I'm like,
What?
I need a
I'm
refill.
like-
I need a refill.
I was
I
about to
know.
say.
I'm like,
I'm about to shoot yours right here.
I know. So I'm like, yeah, oh, so your dental equipment guy said he knows construction and he can manage and he's been in the industry. And she goes, I'm like, okay.
Oh my god.
So then if he knows construction, what's the problem here? She goes, well, I've had some things that didn't align up and I had to redo some cabinets. I had to redo some work because it didn't. I'm like, well, he knows construction. So I said, okay, look, let me get into this. Forget about him. I said, this is what I see. And she goes, yeah, that's what we're missing, but I can't get people to talk to each other to finish it. I'm like, and I'm looking at her and I'm like, look, we don't normally do this, but I'm going to send out a couple emails and I'm going to get some people together and we'll get this done for you.
You're
She
good
goes,
people, Tommy.
I know. And so I was like, God, man. And Veronica's looking at me. She's like, yeah, we need to get this
Yeah.
done. And so I'm like, okay, look, I'm going to need 4 days.
Yeah.
And she goes, 4 days? I said, I'm going to need 4 days to get everything together. Because it was Sunday. I
Yeah.
need to be able to tell people. And so I wrote everything down. I said, Veronica, get in here and take some pictures. Take an instant 360. So we can remember where things are. Write down a punch list. And so Veronica did the normal procedure for a closeout that we usually do. She went through the whole process. I was talking to him. I was looking at things. I got a ladder. I was looking in the attic and stuff. And so I said, okay. So then we got to where we're going to. We left. We said, we'll be in touch. Just we'll be back. And so I didn't tell her we'll be back. So we'll be in touch. The next day I wrote out some emails and sent some emails out. Well, shit. I got some freaking emails back from people right away because they were like, holy shit. these guys are on the project now. So they're going to hold us accountable. So, and that is exactly what I got. And then I got phone calls. I was getting phone calls Monday morning, like from them, like, hey, this is where we are. And I got some phone calls from the stupid shit equipment company guy, but that was easy for me to handle. And so I, got in touch with them and stuff, and got things handled. Long story short, we got them done in 6 days. So it took me 6 days because everybody had to, I had to do due diligence, come back, get final inspections. Got the contractor to finish because he was waiting for the actual dental equipment guy to finish his stuff.
Oh my
and
gosh.
the IT company to finish, and then they got their punch list done and stuff. And then they had some issues with smell and stuff, and it's because a lot of the and that happened a couple of weeks ago where I got a phone call from them where they have like a floor drain. Mm-hmm. So you see floor drains in your office. Mm-hmm. A lot of you guys have floor drains out there. Well, the issue is there's no water in the floor drain.
Oh, they didn't put anything in the trap?
Exactly. There was no water in the trap. Or they abandoned the old line and forgot to plug it correctly.
That?
So I used to be in
Like,
construction
I got you
overseas.
into dental. How do you know that?
No. Like I used to build houses overseas.
Yeah, right. The P trap doesn't have any water in it, so there's no barrier there for the sewer gas. So, but in this case, they also had an abandoned line that they forgot to plug. Mm-hmm. And so they just put flooring over and thought, the flooring will trap the smell.
Oh my God. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
So anyway, but yeah, we got them finished. And it was either 5 or 6 days. And then she wrote us a really nice review because and she said the one of the mistakes I made was not hiring. I'm like, oh my God, can I get that in writing?
Yeah.
Well, and she goes, I'll do it because there was no charge because how do you charge? You can't charge full price for coming in at the end of something to finish it up,
Wow, what a gift that is to her, though.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, but
y'all
sometimes,
are a blessing for that.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
No, you do. You do that
bad.
too. In
I
fact,
get in big
actually,
trouble for
I
it.
have to I'm like, all right, you get to have one
charity case a
charity
year.
case. Yeah, I say a year. She's like, I'm doing one a week.
It's like adopting puppies. I'm like, somebody comes in that I just connect with people.
Yeah.
I really do bond with people and I connect with people and they come in and their story resonates with me.
Yeah.
And I got into this. Obviously, I'm not in it for the money. Like, I'm not rich.
Oh, I know, right? Oh, we know that.
I'm in it because I want to leave my mark on the world and leave it better than I found it. And I want my children to see me helping people, you know?
It's about serving.
And sometimes I charge
really
for
is.
it,
Yeah.
But
trying to make that at least 50%.
yeah, sometimes that leads to good faith, which leads to referrals, which leads to more business.
That is true.
And
It's goodwill.
I think
It is.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's goodwill.
You
You're
get back
there
what
to
you put
help.
out.
Not good faith, goodwill. Oops.
When she called me for the second time, I was like, okay, something's going on.
Yeah.
And so then, I called her, when I took her call and then she told me all that and then we made the stop and it got done.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it got done and that's what I wanted. And, I had asked her for the review, like kind of tongue in cheek, and then she laughed and said she would do it. And then probably 2 or 3, 4 weeks later, she did it.
Yeah.
And Erica saw it. And Erica said, hey, we got the review. I'm like, oh, no kidding?
Yeah.
Phenomenal. And
That's beautiful.
it's one of those things. You don't know what you don't know. And people say like, oh, my dental equipment guy said he could do it. The general contractor said he has project managers that could do it. Well, the project manager for the general contractor is loyal to the general contractor, right? He's paid by that person. Do you think he's going to advocate for you when you get a change order or there's an issue and you have to have resolved
Yeah.
on your behalf?
Yeah.
A dental equipment guy, do you think he's knows the parameters of equipment, right? I know the parameters of their equipment because I can install it, I can maintain it, I can service it. I don't, though, because I stay in my lane, right?
Mm-hmm.
But no, those guys are, So anyway, so I'm like, he knows the parameters of the equipment. So, but I have to know, right? Rise, fall, cripples, the staircase elevations. I mean, I have to know that. I don't have to know, but I know it because I
En
did
inglés,
it, right?
por favor.
You guys went to college, right?
Yeah.
Mine are scars. I went to the school of hard knocks to do the work.
Oh.
Because I chose
That's a
that.
good one. I like
He's
that.
been waiting to
chose
drop that line
right?
the entire 2 hours.
Look,
Right.
as somebody that went to college, I can tell you though, people that put in the work and time, right, and have a passion for what they do, So many people come out of college and don't know.
No craftsmanship.
No craftsmanship.
No
They have
work
no
ethic.
knowledge. It's like, man,
Yeah.
like apply yourself. Whether you went to college or not,
I'm here to
apply
earn money
yourself.
because my mommy told me I'm important.
Yes.
My mommy told me. At our, and
Mom
so
says I'm smart.
in our license, it's like one of the creeds in there is like neat work-like manner.
Yeah.
When we do our work, it's got to be a neat work-like manner. I don't see that a whole lot on site anymore because there's not a whole lot of people that are licensed like they used to be, or they don't go take the tests and stuff. But it's still something that I make people do
Yeah.
on the job site when I'm there because it's important.
Look, I learned how to be a better worker by my grandfather putting a welder in my hand and running me hard on a farm, right? Like, college didn't teach me that.
Yeah.
It's that work-life balance of work your ass off.
That's right. That's
absolutely.
welding. That's one thing I didn't pick up very well. I can do some. Probably need to go already. It's like another
That's the
hour.
wrap. It's been
Oh
another
my
hour and a
God, man,
half.
it's been
The
good
outro.
there.
Okay, we're going to do the outro. I'm going to do it for you. This has been 2XL Builders, and these guys are fucking phenomenal. Hit the beep.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Welcome to Dentistry Beyond the Norm.
Let's go.
That's right. Thanks, everybody.